Hans Wormhat. This is Trusting the Government is Foolish Part 2. I just want to expand on really my last video. I was just saying whatever came to mind, but I'm going to have some clear topics in this one. I just want to talk about the various aspects of government and just show that it's all a sham. People just believe in it because it's all they've ever known. And programming, you get shown on the TV somebody in a doctor's outfit saving people's lives a million times before you're 10 years old. You're gonna have programmed into your head that people with doctors' costumes on save lives, and that's just it. At the end of the day, people are people. Most people suck at their jobs, and it's just a costume that they put on before they go to work. So first, the health system. They're just following orders. They're just trannies. That's number one, is that they're just a bunch of trannies. That's how you get into med school. How do you get into med school? Be a tranny. And they're just following orders. My doctor even said this when we told them no vaccines. The tranny was like, well, I have to tell you that I always support the government sanctioned vaccination schedule. They're literally just shills for the pharmaceutical industry. And that's not even hyperbole at all. That's just the truth. They like to put on that doctor costume so much and live their little doctor life that they'll bend over and take it from whatever tranny above them makes them. And those are the good doctors, right? A lot of these trannies are straight up evil. And I've had all sorts of comments from people about doctors being very evil. I've even had run-ins with nurses that are just evil. You can just tell, what are you doing working in the medical field? You have no compassion. So there you go. Just if you have any personal experience with the medical field, you can see it's not to be trusted. But people just still trust it. And big thing, how people are more sick than ever. People have more autoimmune disorders than ever. 30 years ago, where was everybody talking about celiac disease and being gluten-free, and why is everybody's immune system screwed up? Maybe it has something to do with all these immune system experiments that they've been doing with the vaccines. It really doesn't take a genius to put it together, but people are just too afraid to admit the truth. One thing that I want to point out, because I keep forgetting to, is that people just have such cognitive dissonance when it comes to in the past. And I'm just going to give you two examples. People think that in the past everybody's children died. They think that everybody died during childbirth. They think that, right? And they think it's because vaccines didn't exist. That's just how normies think. But then at the same time, you'll hear them, they'll talk about stuff like that, like, oh, everybody used to die from malaria and cholera and whatever. And then in the next breath, they'll be like, well, my great-great-uncle Remus smoked 3 packs a day and ate nothing but bacon and eggs and lived until they were 104. Right? They can have these totally contradictory things in their head at the same time. Well, which is it? Was everybody dropping like flies of polio, or were people living into their 90s and smoking a pack a day? It can't be both. And for me personally, I think humans are supposed to live to 120 years old, like the Bible says. That seems right to me. And just the fact that people don't make it anywhere near that today. How many people die in their 50s and 60s? And that's just proof right there that our health system, it doesn't heal people. Everything's inverted in tranny land. The next one, education system. People are dumber today than they've ever been, so dependent on authority figures and government aid, and nobody knows how to grow their own food or take care of themselves. They need the government to do it for them. People don't know how to take care of their body. People don't know how to eat correctly. Right? And even arithmetic, reading, they don't teach cursive anymore. People are terrible at arithmetic these days because they just have calculators to do everything for them. The education system has completely failed. So this is the future. Things should be getting better. This just proves that the government should not be trusted. Do not send your children to public indoctrination camp. Homeschool, they'll be so much smarter. And then I just have some minor topics. So fire, that's another government thing, and it's just a bunch of free martins. You can just look at them. They're all T-Rex armed trannies. And I've heard stories that a lot of times the fire department will get called and it'll be some bureaucratic nonsense, and they'll be like, well, we can't put it out or whatever, and the house will just burn down. So I don't know. I know nothing about that personally. And sure, firefighters, it does seem like they put out fires sometimes, but they're a part of this big thing. They're a bunch of tranny hormone abusers, and they sweep arson under the rug. Also, it's a bunch of BS when they tell you that the fire experts can find a little match in a field. That's a bunch of BS. They want you to think that their experts know everything. That's the type of lies that they tell you. Oh, our forensic guys, they can find no, it's a bunch of BS. That's on TV and in the movies. It's not how real life works. So police, bunch of T-Rex trannies there too, and they're corrupt. Everybody knows that the police are corrupt and that it's just a group. That's how these groups all operate. It's just a hive mind, their own little tranny hives. And police are Masons most of the time. And, right? Everyone knows that they're just a bunch of T-raging a-holes, basically. And police never make a situation better. Don't ever talk to the police. They're not on your side. They're doing nothing but trying to get information to get you in trouble. Police is 33 in Pythagorean gematria, and probably the police canine stuff is a bunch of BS too. They way overplay what the canine units can do. I mean, I'm not saying that you want to go up against the canine unit. I think a lot of their claims about, right, I've read a lot of stories about false positives in the bomb sniffing capabilities and all that, bringing them around the airports and stuff. I think it's a bunch of theater. I don't really buy that. Another one is government and diplomacy. Everybody can see that governments are just run by a bunch of clowns. So eventually you wake up and you realize it's just theater. None of these, it's just a bunch of puppets, a bunch of tranny puppets. And don't ever trust the government to do anything. And people get so wrapped up and riled up about things that have no relevance. It's just a waste of time and energy. They're energy vampires getting you angry about stuff that really doesn't matter. Another one, military. People they're just wowed by the jets and it's all theater of war. There's no real conflicts anymore. The trannies, the New World Order, it's already here. They own everything. And so when you hear about 42 or 33 people getting blown up in Iraq from IEDs, it's a bunch of BS. There aren't a bunch of turban-wearing people in caves trying to kill U.S. Marines. It's not true. If you talk to people that were in these wars, they go over there and they just sweep dirt and they burn their own poop. That's literally what they do. And then they just fake a few deaths and do the little ceremony with the pyramid flag. And lastly, this one should be really obvious to people, that the government sucks, not to be trusted. It's an emperor has no clothes situation. They're just a bunch of trannies with no talent. And the arts are just a complete farce. You can see that they have no talent. They're just a bunch of tranny puppets. And you can even see it locally. In my town, there's these horrible statues that I'm sure somebody's tranny cousin got commissioned for thousands and thousands of dollars to make these really ugly statues that have no talent. You can just tell. And these trannies get propped up all over the place, and they make huge amounts of money with these grants. So arts is just another really obvious. You can tell that a lot of no talent people get put in the spotlight. And it's because you live in tranny land. It doesn't take talent. You just have to be a sellout to Satan. So you should have your own taste, but that's why it gets really hard. Literally everything out there is just tranny garbage. So if you like painting, you should just do it yourself. If you like songs and singing, you should just do it yourself. Really don't consume anything that's out there because it's all tainted. All right, that's it for this video. God bless everybody.